Well, it looks like this morning we have frost on the trailer, and my heat lamps actually worked. There's the timer. They're set to come on for about an hour. This right here is actually quite hot, so this is kind of warm to the touch, so seems to have done the job. Let me get my starting mileage here, and I'm going to shut the camera off so I don't just waste a lot. Got 36030.7, which I think is identical to what the N was on the last time. Let's see what the thermometer reading is. Okay, we have, looks like 28 degrees. Let me see if I can get a better view of it there. Yeah, call it 28. I think that's 28 degrees. Okay, I'm going to shut the camera off, get the bike started, and then resume. I wanted to tell a story and also take care of a tag. My friend Lisa tagged me, and this is a tag going back to a few other friends about what Christmas means to you or your favorite Christmas memory. My favorite memory, and it's a favorite memory because it's not only happy, it's kind of funny. It goes back to 1961, that Christmas. I would have been 5 years old, and in 1961 was pretty much when the first of our space program was kicking in, and you had all the Mercury astronauts and John Glenn, Alan Carpenter, and all them. So I was really, since I was a kid that was into science anyway, I liked anything to do with science. And I got a present that was like a, probably, I don't know how to describe it, it was like a mock-up of the Cape Canaveral Space Center. It was a plastic platform, probably, I don't know, about 2 foot by 1 foot, with mock-ups of the launch tower and, excuse me, some control buildings, and it had a rocket that you could attach to it that was spring-loaded and would launch. And it didn't have that much power. I imagine at the most, if you were lucky, it would hit the ceiling. It was just enough spring power to shoot the little rocket. The rocket was, I don't know, about 2 inches wide and 6 inches tall. But it was really cool looking. It looked just like the real, I guess, the Atlas rockets or whatever they were using then, but it looked just like the same thing the astronauts were getting ready to go up in. So I got it all set up. After I unwrapped it, I was so excited about it and got it all set up, put the few parts together that need to be set up, and then I put the rocket in the spring-loaded dealie to launch. And I was watching the rocket when I pushed the button and the rocket goes up, and I was looking down at the set, and then I looked up and I saw no rocket come down, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Did it stick in the ceiling? And I'm looking around, and pretty soon everybody's laughing at me, and I can't figure out what's going on. And then I finally turn around, and right behind me is my uncle, and he had caught it. I guess it had flipped up in the air and behind me and came down, and he was sitting in the couch behind me, so he ended up catching it. But I thought that was kind of funny too, because it fooled me for about a minute or so. I'm looking around, and nobody else was, well, everybody else had gotten the joke because they see what was going on, but I was looking at the launch pad instead of watching the rocket go up. And by the time I thought about it, I'm like, hey, something's happening that's wrong here. So that was kind of a funny memory for Christmas that I wanted to share with everybody. I'd also kind of like to talk about the fact, too, that our spirit is kind of weakened since then, in my opinion. When I was a kid, it was like, as a nation, and even most of the people in the world kind of had this feeling we can do anything. You know, we can challenge ourselves, we can go beyond just our basic abilities and do something special. And now we don't seem to have that feeling anymore. It seems to be everybody's just kind of hunkered down and barely able to get by, and I'd kind of like to see us recapture that spirit again. And I think it takes something like a project that is like the space program. I wish Obama, and I was kind of hoping Obama would catch that same spirit of President Kennedy and say, you know, hey, let's make a commitment in the next 10 years to actually take people and go to Mars. Maybe even set up a small colony there or something of just a few astronauts. But we need that kind of spirit again, that we can actually do stuff that's difficult to do. I mean, we probably in that 10 years, I would say from 1961 to 1971, and I can say part of this I have inside knowledge because my father worked in the space program, and a lot of the people he knew worked in the space program that were friends of ours. We probably in that 10 years from 61 to 71 accomplished probably the equivalent of maybe 50 years worth of technology, if not more. And a lot of the reasons why we're as far along as we are now is because those people took that chance and strove to be something better than they were. And we're certainly, with our attitude and the economy and everything right now, unless we give ourselves some kind of a goal to reach for, we're going to be stuck that way for a long, long time. And I'd really rather not see that. Sometimes you need to try for what seems like impossible. Okay, it appears the temperature's gone up 1 degree, so it's 29 degrees now. Started out 28, went to 29. Let's get the odometer reading here. 36035.1. 36035.1.